Common decency. Good Friday, common decency. Somebody explain to me their definition of common decency. I'm being serious. If you've never left a comment before, comment section now. What the heck is common decency? You have a former losing president of the United States of America. Forget about the arguments over the Constitution. Forget about the arguments over all of the crimes, all of the felonies committed. Forget about the arguments over the lies. What sort of person attacks kids? What sort of person makes it look like it's perfectly okay to attack children? Kids. That's what they are. They don't care how you're old. Oh, you are. Your kids are always your kids. Who gives Trump the right? Why? Why is he allowed to be this, well, it's not a shining example. Just explain to me. I'm an outsider looking in. How the heck can you have somebody who's meant to be the head, the commander-in-chief, attacking kids? That's not right. You don't need to be left or right. That is just wrong. How the hell have you got cable news stations? You could start getting triggered. But I do not understand it. I would never defend anybody who thinks it's okay to attack kids, and that's what Trump is doing. And then they think it's fine to post pictures of the President of the United States of America tied up. That's meant to be funny. That passes as humor. How has America got to the situation where Don Trump Jr., all of Trump's family, are able to be so derogative, so rude? Common respect. What the F has happened?
So, it's time to do something different. Like, we're not going to have this conversation again. I have come on the air with breaking news about requests for gag orders because of threats for judges and their kids more times than I could count today before I got ready. And Judge Ludig, I think it's time. I don't know who has to write the banners at the bottom of my show. I'm sorry in advance. But Donald Trump broke the rule of law. We should cover a broken judiciary in this country. Donald Trump managed to delay every federal criminal trial based on facts that he barely denies. Donald Trump managed to enlist the Supreme Court in a delay process, the highest court in the land. Donald Trump brazenly and repeatedly attacks not just judges, and I've had the privilege of sitting across not just from you, Judge Ludig, but from Judge Esther Salas, whose son was assassinated by a crazy person. Judges don't have Secret Service protecting them. They don't even always have, her child answered the door. What are we going to do different? Because Donald Trump sure as hell isn't changing.
Nicole, thank you for having me with you this afternoon. First, we all should congratulate and thank Judge Walton for his interview last night, coming forward with the perilous state of the federal judiciary. It took great courage for him to do that. He is one of the first, to my knowledge, sitting federal judges ever to appear on television to speak about a need of the federal court system. We all have to understand that from the first time that the former president began his attacks, vicious attacks on the federal courts and the state courts and their individual judges, his objective was to delegitimize those courts so that when and if they ruled against him in the various matters that he's been charged with, then at least his followers, if not a good part of the nation, would dismiss those rulings against him as having been politically inspired and motivated. In particular, in most of these instances, politically inspired by President Joe Biden and his administration and Merrick Garland and the Department of Justice. That led into what we have today, which is the fact that the former president is now actually campaigning for the presidency again on the delegitimization of America's institutions of democracy and law. Now, he's the only one at the moment who's claiming that those institutions are no longer legitimate. But many of his followers believe it today, and they will cast their votes in favor of Donald Trump in November on the basis that our institutions of law and democracy are no longer functioning. That's the tragedy. That's the tragedy that the nation faces right now. We've acquiesced in that to date. Acquiesce meaning no one, not one single person in a position of responsibility to address this issue has done so for want of courage and want of will. And until or unless we as a nation address this issue, then we're careening toward the effective end of the rule of law in America.
There is an alarm bell ringing. I could get really excited and start shouting, but it's more serious than that. Let me tell you how I see it. Somebody running up and down, waving their flag, believing every single conspiracy theory that somebody may have shared on X, Twitter, or whatever it's called. That person is hoping that you get clicks so they can make money out of the advertising, by the way. One of those people running up and down, let's say tomorrow, unfortunately, they find themselves in a medical situation, even in the hospital. I don't think Charlie Kirk's suddenly going to turn up and be by the side of their bed. I don't think Jesse Waters or Judge Jeanine Pirro on Fox is going to turn up and hold their hand. I don't think Trump's going to be on a WhatsApp full-time asking about, how are you? I do not understand how people, and it's not this is not ideology. This is not like, oh, give more money to the state or more tax cuts. This is about common decency. What happened? You go around the world, Americans are known for their hospitality, their fun, their strength, their sense of unity. Some of these voices you see running up and down, like Don Trump Jr. and former guy, appear to have just gone down the hole of the worst. Just scum. That's what's going on. It can't be the situation where if I was to get a hose pipe and spray stinking, shitty manure over everywhere, there'd be outrage. But that's what they're doing vocally at the moment. That's what they're doing on social media. Is that really the best? Look, I'm an outsider looking in. Just explain it to me.
I want to let you real quick listen just to a non-exhaustive sort of roundtable of Donald Trump attacking judges, prosecutors, and their families. Take a listen.
I've been treated very unfairly by this judge. Now, this judge is of Mexican heritage. I'm building a wall, okay? I'm building a wall.
The Trump-hating prosecutor in the case, his wife and family despise me much more than he does, and he decides, I think he's about a 10. They're about a 15 on a scale of 10.
Then you have deranged Jack Smith, who's a Trump hater and represents all the Trump haters.
You have a radical left attorney general like Letitia James, who's a disgrace to our country.
The judges on these cases, they're all Trump haters.
Michael, what's his goal when he does that?
His goal is to fuel up his supporters, as you stated in your opening, to fuel up his haters for the sole purpose of getting them to act no differently and as stupidly as they did on January 6th. His goal is to get them to attack these individuals, these critics of him, as often and as frequently as they possibly can, whether it's going to be on social media, whether it'll be through phone calls, whether it'll be in person. I mean, that's his goal. Intimidation and witness. It's witness intimidation and it's harassment.